Consider this your trigger warning. The following program is strictly satire and is not meant to be taken seriously. So don't get all butthurt, you liberal snowflakes, just because we skewer your sacred cows and expose all your lies and hypocrisy. Truth hurts, and so does satire. So grab a drink, pull up a chair, and enjoy the show.
Welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. It is Sunday Night Live, and guess what? We have something to interfere again with the timing called daylight savings time, right? Never fails. Something out there always screwing things up. It's weird. You know, I was up topside and stuck my head out the bunker. Didn't see my shadow. 6 more weeks of fall in Florida, I guess. Anyways, folks, welcome to the Prepared Mind. It is time for us to get rolling, and we got a lot to talk about this week. I hope you are prepared with food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, your plan, etc. Very important to understand what's going on around the world, folks. That's the prepared mind part, right? Understanding where you're at and the world around you. If things go bad and you're not at home, how do you get back? If things are bad and you think you need to bug out, how are you going to get there? There's so much to consider, folks. It's not something that you can just go, figure it out when we get there. It's good to have some of these things in mind before we start. We've got a lot going on, folks, a lot in the world. It's not just an America thing. It's not just a East or a West. It's not a racial thing. It's not a religious thing. It's everything. In any event, if you have something to say, this is Sunday Night Live. This is the zoo, and we are live at thepreparedmind.club. We're live on subscribestar.com. We're live on The Prepared Mind on YouTube, and we're live on The Prepared Mind on YouTube. We have 2 YouTube channels. We also have X. But if you're watching on X Live, I find it strange that it's being allowed. That has been stolen by foreign scumbags. They changed the pictures. They've changed everything they can. They may end up changing the name, but somehow we're still linked to it and still broadcasting on there. And those bastards, I'd like you to meet me on the street. Just do it. Just show up and say, we're the bastards that stole your X channel. Not going to happen. In any event, if you've got something to say, super chat button right up there. You have to be on the new Prepared Mind channel on YouTube to do a super chat. That's the one with 4,900 subscribers. The one with 70,000, it's now 79,900 subscribers. That one is not monetized yet. They made the channel alive. They brought it back, but they demonetized it to try and punish us yet again. So if you want to do, super chats and get on screen, you have to go to that, or you do CashApp, Venmo, or PayPal, and we'll get you here. Now, one last thing, and then we're going to roll, is any PayPal or other super chat donation, $50 or more, buys me a delicious single malt scotch out of this very handsome bottle of Glenfiddich, and it is an 18-year single malt. And, well, if I'm pouring one, that means we've got one, does it not? You bet. We've got Darcy T, who's checked in with a $50 PayPal super chat donation, and this is how we're going to kick the show off. Welcome, and let's talk turkey, as it were, as we get closer to Thanksgiving. Down the hatch, salut, and semper fi to one and all. And we're off. Now, Darcy T, longtime supporter of the channel. She loves to start the show off. So does Chin Music, by the way. Hoping to hear from him. He told me he's on the road, but we'll find out if he can check on in with us. Let's go to Darcy T, though, and her question. She says, here's my question for tonight's zoo. With all of the hype around the EBT and SNAP crisis, do you think they will really defund it? Or is it just another ruse to push fear and further justify troops on the streets? Salute. And that's that. I want to thank you, Darcy T, for that. It's a great topic because it was supposed to happen this weekend. The EBT or SNAP recipients, SNAP and EBT is basically welfare, food stamps. Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program is SNAP. Well, a judge on Friday told the Trump administration they have to get checks out. They have to transfer the money into people's accounts. Once again, judges run this country. Judges make every decision on the local, state, and federal level. Hell, international level for all we know. Well, there was a lot of hype over that. There were threats that they're going to destroy stores. And by the way, I saw videos where people did indeed, yes, go into Walmarts and completely trash the places. People loading their shopping carts, they didn't give a shit. Right? Nope, not at all. They didn't give a shit. They destroyed the store. Other stores looked great. People were walking around. They had, a few items in their shopping cart, kind of like mine. You can only afford so much these days. But no, then they said, look, no shopping carts brimming over with food. People that get 2-3 shopping carts because they're on SNAP. They're on EBT cards. They're on welfare, and they eat better than the rest of us. Right? So there were videos of that where people didn't show up, and there were videos of destroyed stores. Some stores were empty, as if the management shut them down. And I saw or made that prediction that if I were a manager and people wanted to destroy my store, I'd close it. I would rather come back the next day with the ability to have sale, store open and make sales, rather than day one, you open the door, they come in, they destroy everything, they leave without paying, and now you have no inventory. You've got nothing to sell, and you've got no customers that are going to buy anything. Then you got to clean up the mess. Anyways, that was the threat. And other threats were, you're going to love this shit, that people who were on SNAP, on EBT, if they didn't get their money from you, meaning, from our tax money, they were going to do something terrible. They were going to attack people in parking lots at grocery stores. They're going to steal their groceries. And one particular fruitcake said something really crazy, that she was going to kill and eat people if she didn't get her SNAP. So Darcy's question, with all the hype, do you think they're really going to defund it, or is it just another ruse? Well, I'll tell you what. See, the question is not SNAP or EBT. The question in front of Congress and the President of the United States, the contentious issue is illegal funding of food, housing, medical attention, basically everything, supporting 20 million illegal families, including transgender surgeries and heart surgeries and whatever else they can get, to the tune of, stand by, $1.5 trillion. $1.5 trillion. It's not about SNAP. It's not about the military industrial complex. It's not about Israel. It's not about Ukraine even. It is strictly on those grounds that the minority party in the House and the Senate, both minorities in both houses, are Democrat. The Republicans have the majority, 51%, in both the House and the Senate. Unfortunately, you need 60%. And Trump said, let's go nuclear. Let's get rid of the filibuster, yada, 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 yada. And they haven't done it. So all the Democrats have to do is go, well, I mean, we can stop them, but they can't demand anything and get what they want. So it comes back. The question is, will the Democrats keep the government shut down, or will they demand and hold the country hostage for the sake and benefit of illegal aliens? And folks, it's pretty interesting, right? That's what they're fighting for. Now, very interestingly, he is back. And who is he? That would be our good friend Elon Musk, who said the reason the Democrats are fighting so hard to get $1.5 trillion for illegals is they're buying votes. No one will come to America if they're not going to get freebies and handouts. No illegals are going to stay in America if they don't continue to get freebies and handouts. My question is, I've got a big question. Why the fuck do we even care what the illegals want? Anyone that just throw them out of the country. At this point, I am so done with this. And I think all Republicans are. The question I'll ask you is, are you done with these illegals? How far are you willing to go to see them sent home? No, I'm not talking about doing in Israel and just killing everybody. No, I'm not that kind of person, but sending them home. It's cheaper to send them home on one airline flight to whatever country they're from than to keep them here for a whole month and pay for their housing, their food, their health, their dentist, their vision, their hearing, their clothing, their transportation, their phone, right? Their electricity, their sewer, their garbage, right? All the things that we have to pay for, they don't. So that's where we're at. I do not believe, Darcy, that this is a fear tactic that is being used to justify the threats of putting troops on the street. I do recognize, though, to this point of yours, that yes, it is a possibility that we could end up with more federal troops, right? National Guard, Marines, soldiers, whatever. It's a possibility. In fact, in Washington, D.C., Friday night was Halloween. The streets were overrun with youths running around, acting like hooligans, committing vandalism, destroying property, just basically being a bunch of assholes. And they overwhelmed the existing law enforcement. They overwhelmed the existing National Guard, who don't have ammunition, weapons, or even the authority to arrest anybody. So they're understaffed, under-equipped, and under-authorized to maintain law and order. But Washington, D.C. has been a much safer place, according to those who live there. But they came out and showed us once again, the scumbags, folks, how quickly and easily they can overwhelm law enforcement. That's in Washington, D.C., the nation's capital. That's where they already have had troops and police. And they're ready and trained and everything, and they still got overrun. In your city, my city, anyone's cities or towns in this country, if they decide to go nuts, there is no National Guard. There is only local city police, county sheriffs, possibly state troopers available to assist. You and me, we will be on our own. Are you prepared is the big question. All right. And that is, that's really it. What do we got here? Got all kinds of messages coming up on the communications systems. All right. I got to tell you this one. Mr. Uman, we got a super chat donation of $200 from Mystery Man John. Mystery Man John, he has a different handle he goes by, and he can send me that, and keep an eye out. John is the he's been here a long time, also another long-time supporter, but he says, hey, have a scotch on me. And he did not leave us with a with a question, comment, suggestion, thought, prediction, etc. Anyways, Big John, I want to say thank you for the great support, the great coffee, the camaraderie, everything. Semper Fi to one, to all. It has hit the fan, and it's going to keep getting ridiculous and stupid. In any event, here we go. What do we got there? Anyways, big ass super chat from John says, have a drink on me. That one hit the spot, man. It's like mother's milk. It smells so good, so good. All right, well, I tell you what, John may get a question into the comments with, ooh, man, what I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to pick a topic. I'm going to pick a topic for John. $200 super chat donation. Amazing. Let's go with this topic here. Obama. That's right. Barack Hussein Obama, who was also known as, he had an alias, Barry Soetoro. He attended Columbia University as a foreign exchange student. While senator for the state of Illinois, Barack Obama admitted in a televised, recorded crowd that he is not American. That's Obama. He promised hope and change, and he gave us change that he should keep, and it's completely hopeless. But what is Obama doing right now? Well, he is flying back and forth from America to London to speak with his masters in London, more than likely the city of London, bankers. But Obama has come back and said that he stands, supports, backs, and thinks that the filthy, disgusting Democrat Jay Jones, the disgraced candidate for Attorney General in the state of Virginia, he likes him. He likes him, believe it or not. I just can't believe it. But yeah, just days after Cory Booker, another low-life piece of trash Democrat, Obama has come out and he's decided he's going to support Jay Jones. Now, who is Jay Jones? Does everyone remember? Ooh, man, do you remember Jay Jones? Attorney General candidate for the state of Virginia? Well, let me help you out. I'm here to help me help you. Jay Jones is the complete, total jackass. He is an attorney. He is a Democrat. He is on the plantation, and he thinks that his candidate, shall we say, competitive candidate, his rival, political rival for the position, he wanted to see him shot. He wanted him shot, and he wanted his children shot. Jay Jones wanted his opponent to be shot and his children shot and die in his arms. He texted that shit. And Obama stands with this fucking clown. Cory Booker, Senator Cory Booker, stands with this clown. Unfucking believable that they take glee, they take great pleasure in wishing death, in announcing their wish for death. Now, in all fairness, in your mind, let me ask you this question. If Barack Obama stepped off a curb and got hit by a bus, would you laugh? Would you giggle? Would you smile and say the son of a bitch deserved it after all the fucking damage he's done to this country? I don't know what you would do. I don't know what I would do because it hasn't happened yet. But I'm not going to go and I'm not, but if I were a big shot political candidate at the federal level, the state level, hell, even a local candidate, do you think I'd write some shit like that? Say I'd be happy if that happened to him? No. But I do know, folks, that we're in a conflict with our political opponents. It just hasn't come to complete violent blows yet. Right now, we have some assassinations. We have a lot of threats. We have attempts at killing people. Fires, bombs, explosives. We aren't yet to the point of shooting back at Democrats who are shooting at Republicans. These types of Democrats are BLM, Antifa, transgender, trans-Tifa type Democrats. They're actually shooting people. That's the mass shootings we're dealing with. They're continuing to, excuse threats of violence against Republicans and say, it's just a joke. Just a joke. Not a big deal. Yeah. And people are getting killed. A large number of federal employees at the executive level, or shall I say the administrative and regime level, Trump's White House, they're living on military bases. Their families are being protected because of the level of violence being orchestrated, being excused, being encouraged, and being funded by Democrats and offshore anti-American organizations. It is not going to go away, folks. It's not going to go away. Anyways, Big John, if you've got more, you can definitely let me know via email, text, etc. Email would be best, John. I want to cover your topic as well, but $200 super chat does great, folks. We just got another big ass bill for our administrative computer services website, etc. The website is up, so you can go to thepreparedmind.club, thepreparedmind.club, to buy food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, the solar power, communications gear, whatever it takes to get you prepared. That's what that channel is about, or that website. You can also become a premium member there and be live with us Monday through Friday in our afternoon broadcasts. But the bills are hefty, folks, just to sit here with the lights on in our studio. And I want to thank John and everybody who supports us, Darcy T, Chin Music, and also Heidi Uman has done a $50, you got it, a $50 super chat donation on CashApp. And down below in the description is the CashApp, Venmo, and PayPal addresses. So that's a great way to do super chats, or you just do the super chat button on the Prepared Mind channel. It has to be the Prepared Mind channel that has 4.9 thousand subscribers, not the 80,000 subscriber version. We're going to have to get that consolidated at some point. It's hard to go after all of the questions and comments at one time. Uman only has 2 arms, 2 eyes, and 150 IQ. Hard to keep up with. Well, let's see. We're at 300 people right now live. Not bad. Not bad at all for a Sunday night when they change the time on everyone. I hope you're ready for more, because this, my friends, is going to get interesting tonight. It's going to get interesting tonight. Anyways, thank you, Big John, taking care of us. Not to be confused with Dr. John, or the John on the West Coast, or the other John down in Texas. And, of course, we've got Big John up in Illinois and then also Michigan. But we've got Johns up and down, coast to coast, north to south. In any event, you know who you are, brother. Thank you for the great support. That's going to pay some bills. Now, let's do this, if we shall. Mr. Uman, let's go and handle Heidi. Another longtime great supporter. And she does a $50 super chat donation to keep the lights on and keep the pantry full of Spam, tuna fish. Thank you, Heidi. H12 is Heidi. Tuna fish, scotch, and of course, all things pork related. And I'm really getting a quick start on the alcohol on this show. I believe we were the first channel to do sponsor-supported alcoholic beverages, where you guys support the channel and make sure I'm mentally lubricated. Anyways, it's a great way to kick off the week. It's Sunday night. What else are you going to do on a Sunday night? What else are you going to do? We all got to get up tomorrow. I'll be up zero dark with you guys. Oh, woo! That'll take your breath away. So Heidi says, pick a topic. Okay, then we'll do that. Thank you, Heidi, for the $50 Cash App. And what topic shall we go with? I've got a list a mile long. And it is Sunday Night Live, which means you guys can pick the topics when you do your donations. This is a very important one right here. A very important one. And it is remember when, well, us old people, we had Casey Kasem in his top 40 countdown back when there was just television, regular Radio regular, no satellite stuff, no internet stuff, no cable stuff hardly. Top 40 Billboard songs. Well, guess what? For the first time in absolute decades, the Billboard Top 40 contains zero rap. For the first time, folks, in decades. The first time, no song in the top 40 is rap, aka crap. This is good news. Hollywood's legacy control group, guess who they are, in the music industry is losing their control over social standards. It sounds to me like the world is saying, you know, we've had enough of this shit. We've had enough of fuck the police. We've had enough of gangster paradise. We've had enough of sloppy wet pussy or whatever that song is by these fucking freaks. Thank you, Mr. Uman. Oh man, that would have been a good comment. I blew it, man. Anyways, yeah, we're done, right? It's interesting. This music industry in Hollywood is losing its control over social standards. The ghetto culture. It has turned out to be an absolute failure. They tried promoting it through this music, putting it in the suburbs, putting it in the country, putting it everywhere around the world. Ghetto culture, though, is a failure, and it has only made life worse for the adherents of the moral bankrupt messages coming out of the ghetto. It has actually entrapped, well, of course it's ensnared and entrapped idiot white people, idiot Hispanic people, idiot Asian people that like it, but especially the blacks. Black America used to have pride, self-respect. I'm not talking about one or two people. I'm talking about the group in general. But into the 1960s, they had the war on poverty where the government started handing out welfare. But hey, you got to divorce your husband, take the kids, and have the plantation care for you. And then, surprise, 15, 20 years later, they introduced absolute social garbage into the music industry to bring down inner city culture even further. And now it is failing, folks. Good. Absolutely good. While I enjoy some good music and a good beat, I don't need the messages they've got, and I certainly won't support it. In any event, folks, ghetto culture is a failure. It's being rejected. Even the music. Zero rap songs in the Billboard Top 40. Could it be because there's no you said money? Could it be that P. Diddy going to prison, being exposed, and all these other artists being exposed for being absolute fucking disgusting, rapist, sexual deviant freaks? Could be. Could be. And I will make one cautionary statement. Beware of tricks. The political left will always back off. The cultural entertainment left will back off and pretend like, oh, yeah, we've given up on that stuff. We're not going to do any more nasty stuff. We're going to play nice from now on. In any event, that is what's going on. Thank you, Heidi, for the great support. Mr. Uman, let us move on. Little tizzy here. Hey, it's Big Dan the Man Erickson. Kapow with a $5 super chat donation. And he says, it looks like New York is getting a Muslim socialist mayor. You get what you vote for. What a bunch of sucker voters. Oh, there's a lot of interesting commentary coming out of New York and people speaking on the topic. And one of them was from a New Yorker himself. He was an older guy, somewhere between 40 and 60, white, bald, definitely New York accent. And he says that he's looking forward, not in some sadistic kind of way, but in a rather, how do we say this, intellectually personal way. And maybe this is the way I would look at it. But basically what he said is the white liberal women that are going to vote for Mandami, the Muslim socialist mayoral candidate for New York City, what are they going to get? Well, what's going to happen is in public, as they walk down the streets, as they go through stores, as they try to go home, as they get on subways, in taxis, they're going to be sexually harassed, sexually threatened, they're going to be sexually assaulted, and they're going to be raped by these Muslim third world scum. This is not me speaking. This is a prediction by a New Yorker who says, good, they need to get the unintended consequences of their very, very, very poor decisions. And he really did say, because, I don't want this to happen, but I want them to learn their fucking lesson. And it's going to be a hard lesson to learn. A lot of people are sharing that sentiment. Well, if that's what you want, New York, fine. Now, Big Dan, they are a bunch of sucker voters. The same reason. Now, get this. And I'm gonna carry this as we have shot past 300 people live. Share the internet address. Do it. Hit the share button. Do it. Thumbs up button. Do it. If you want to comment, you've got to be a subscriber. Do it. Do it. Do it. Let's look at this. Right. The people out there wanting this, they don't seem to understand that when you vote for a particular ideology, remember, Antifa is just an idea. Yeah, ideology. With ideology comes activity or action. And front and center, what are we going to get in New York City? We're going to get exactly what Mandami is promising. They're going to try and take the property and wealth of rich people. They're going to do what? Defund the police as much as they can. They're going to depower the police. They are going to Islamify the police. Just like they have up in Minnesota, just like they have over in jolly old England. And we're going to find out in the United States of America what it looks like when the major metropolis, New York City, goes full-on Islamic communist. Now, the reason that I find a great amount of humor in this is that these idiots, they have no idea what Islam is about. They have no idea what communism is about. And in fact, there's a large percentage of the Utes that are wanting socialism in America, yet they don't understand what socialism is and what socialism does. If you think Hitler was bad for killing approximately 10 million people in World War II, half of which were supposed to be the Jewish Holocaust, the communists have killed 100 million people. In Russia, the socialists, remember, they were the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. They were socialist communists, just like Mr. Mandami once. What did they do? They killed anywhere from 40 to 50 million Russians. Somewhere between 30 and 40 million of them were Christians. And 80% of the Bolshevik communists were Jewish. And they went and killed everyone they could. That is what socialism will get you under an ideology. Follow me here. An ideology that hates Christianity. So whether it's Talmudic Judaism or Islamic belief system through the Quran, they both hate Christians. They both hate Christians. What do you think is going to happen in New York City? Do you think Mayor Mandami is going to give a shit? No, he won't. Over in London, they've got Sadiq Khan as a mayor. What did he tell the Londoners? Hey, it's a major city. You're going to have to put up with terrorism. It's part and parcel to being a major city. Of course, the Japanese looked at that and said, well, we've got Tokyo. It's bigger than London. It's bigger than New York, and we don't have terrorism. You're full of shit. You're a fucking liar. We're going to have more of it, folks. We're going to have more of it. And why? Because liberals, especially white liberals, they hate themselves. They hate our country. They hate you and me. Are you prepared for what they're going to do? Folks, we got 300 people live here. I know we can get up over 500. But right now, all social media is trying to shut us down. They do not like freedom of speech. They don't like you being able to listen to me or Tucker Carlson or Nick Fuentes or Candace Owens or Mr. Left, Mr. Right, Mr. Anybody. And I'm not big like them. I'm just a little guy. We're small. We're a small contingent of people who are preppers, who are patriots, and who are America first. America first. And the the Jewish conservative movement had a big meeting, and the Hebrew Hammer, a congressman from Florida who is Jewish, Hebrew Hammer is promising to take action against anybody who is opposed to Israel influencing our government. I don't want Israel or China or Russia or Ukraine or England or the European Union or Davos, the World Economic Forum. I don't want any country influencing the United States of America. I don't care who they are, what their belief systems. I don't want Qatar, Iran, nobody. But I certainly don't want some country that, well, has an ideology of hatred and anti-Americanism influencing our politicians by buying them, that is to say, bribing them. We're going to have hell to pay, folks. All right, let's move on up again. Thank you, Big Dan the Man. Who's up next on the Prepared Mind channel? Mr. Ooman. Uh-oh, holy bananas. I'm going to have a rough time if this keeps up. I don't know what's going on. I've got to say thank you. I've got to say thank you for supporting the channel, and I'm going to take another one for the team because Sexyism is doing a $50 super chat donation, and we're up to, yeah, I'm losing it. Yeah, hand-eye coordination gone to shit. Does Sexyism have a question? But first, we'll do this shot. Single malt scotch, 18-year, Glenfiddich, very peaty, but man. I can feel the medicine going to work. Anyways, Mr. Ooman, do we have a comment from Sexyism? A question, a thought, a prediction, the answer. He's giving me the none of this. I got to be careful not to do that or this too fast. Okay, I guess I can pull a rabbit out of my hat and I can handle it. Okay, let me go with this. You and I, we were told the science is settled. We were told to trust the science, right? For example, the COVID and the Jim Jones juice. Trust the science. Well, Harrison Ford, Han Solo, Indiana Jones. Harrison Ford has developed TDS, and a very, very bad case of it. TDS is Trump derangement syndrome. And I believe he probably also likely suffers from serious brain damage caused by the Vax XXX. Now, it's a problem. Trump derangement syndrome is a problem all its own. But now Indiana Jones has declared Trump to be, quote, the worst criminal in history. Now, I thought Hitler was the worst criminal in history, having killed 10 million people and the Holocaust and all that. I thought he was. Well, I thought the Jewish Bolsheviks under communism killing 40 million Christians was the worst ever. I thought Chairman Mao in China killing 40, 50, or 60 million Chinese. I thought that was the worst, nastiest murder. I mean, come on. Trump is the worst criminal in history. That is the literal brain damage, folks, because these people who should know better, like maybe if I was Harrison Ford or name another big shot actor, before I made any political statements, I would probably go to an advisor and say, advisor, give me some facts on this topic. I want to make sure I don't sound like a fucking idiot. Harrison Ford has now showed us he's not that bright. He's actually not an archaeologist. He's not a college professor, and he's not a pirate. He's just a guy who can read a cue card. But Hollywood has lost its charm, has it not? We now have evidence that the music industry is losing it, at least the rap portion of it. I mean, everyone I know listens to music from the 90s or the 80s or the 70s. Even the youths, even the youths, they're not listening to this crap. And Hollywood, no one wants to watch their fucking movies. Why would they? It is nothing but woke, anti-American, pro-homosexual bilge, garbage, sewage. It's woke trash, and nobody wants it. No one wants to see LGB pedophiles on parade. Anyways, sexism. Thank you very much. Let's take it easy on the John here, Mr. Uman. Feeling we got a lot of topics. What do you guys think? Thank you, Sexism, for the great super chat donation. Uman, who's up next on the channel? What do we want to discuss? Holy crap, it's Davey D checking in with a 3570. That's a 357 to you and me. And I've got two of those bad boys. I've got to say, I love the 357 Magnum, folks. You need food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine. Means of self-defense. And I think Davey D has been consistent over the years with his super chat donations of, well, 357. In any event, yeah, I've got a highway patrol special, which was my grandfather's, and then I've got my 686 Smith & Wesson Combat, Distinguished Combat is what it's called, but it's got the 6-inch barrel with adjustable sights. Will fuck you up. Anyways, Davey D says, how do we go dark underground so opposition is not hearing? Think French resistance, World War II. Okay, so this is a great question, Davey D. How do we go dark? The only way we can go dark and talk to one another across the fruited plain. The only way to do that is to have a private broadcast through the internet, and every single person has to be vetted so that all trash, all anti-American, all anti-patriotic, all anti-constitutional scumbags, all the satanic, evil Democrats can't enter. But they could lie. They could say the words that need to be said so they can be let in. But I know what you're talking about, Davey. The French resistance, World War II. Who were the French resistance? Well, they were the French army, French patriots that had to put up with the Nazis taking Paris and taking France. They had to pretend to be nice, but they would meet in private. They would meet in private, and they would perform counterintelligence operations on the Nazis, as well as gathering intel. That is to say, intelligence, spy on the Nazis, and then relay that information to the Allies. The Allies being the United States of America, England, and the French military that had escaped the country and was in France helping and planning. So that's really what they did. The French resistance, they went out there fighting. They weren't the inglorious bastards. They weren't the dirty dozen. Now, not to say that they didn't do amazing things. Not to say that they didn't do counter-insurgency actions against the whatever, right? They did all that. But they were, I think, most notable and most famous for providing information intelligence to the British and Americans across the English Channel. And then, they would go on and do bombing missions. They would have private raids. You had the raiders back then who were famous for what they did, flying a lot of groups, shall we say, flew in behind paratroopers, got into the country and fought the Nazis and combated them. It wasn't the same world then as it is now. So the communications they would give would be by radio. If they could, by note and messenger, But the Nazis controlled France. They controlled the coast. So it was very difficult to get written forms. Now, if they had, carrier pigeons, that might have been a way. But more than likely, radio was the big one. And so they would need a code, because they could provide all manner of information to the British and Americans in England. But if the Nazis intercepted their radio signal, which was not hard to do back then, they didn't have encrypted, digitized message systems. They didn't have cable. They didn't have internet. They didn't have satellites. They had radio. That was some hot stuff back then in the 40s and late 30s. But what they did was they would send a message and try and let the Allies know what the Nazis were up to. That information was, how do we say this? It was very, very useful planning the D-Day invasion of the Normandy coast. Right? They learned and knew where everything was. The Nazis weren't retards. They knew how to camouflage their pillboxes and their stations, and everything was viewable from surveillance aircraft. But back then they didn't have jets. They just had airplanes. So there was a ceiling they couldn't fly past. So they would have to risk being shot down. But let's bring it forward to the year 2025. We don't have that kind of problem anymore. What we have is we've got a form of warfare that is on its face psychological warfare. It is warfare using germs and food. They're poisoning us. And medicine, it's all poison. It's propaganda everywhere. And it is social and it is political warfare. Social and political warfare. It is economic warfare being waged. So going dark, underground, so opposition isn't hearing. If I have an idea, Davey D, you have an idea, ooh man, anyone has an idea, we're going to share that idea, and other people are going to have the same idea in other states, in other patriot networks. So it's not like our ideas that we share here are top secret, right? We're not that. We're sharing generalized information. Now, I do have some contacts via retired military, but there's really nothing I can give them that would be beneficial or useful the way the French resistance did for the Allies. What we need, what you and I need, all of us out here, the America First patriots, what we need is information from inside the government, inside the military, inside the banking cartels. We need intel to come out to us, to share with us, so that we understand what the fuck is going on. So I think General Flynn is a pretty good source for that. He's been out there. Steve Bannon is a pretty good source for that. He's out there. Alex Jones occasionally hits one out of the park. It is a mess, though, because of the misinformation, disinformation, flat out fucking lies coming from government officials, government insiders, so-called government insiders, people that say they're no longer part of the government, but more than likely are, not to mention international organizations interested in providing us information. It's a crazy, crazy, crazy world. All right, that's what we got here. Okay. Uman, the John who did the $200 super chat is JAYCE 1701. Jace 1701 is John. So if you see a question, comment, thought coming from that, let's put it up on the screen. And well, I I really appreciate everything, John. He sent me another quick little message there I just read. Thank you. And we've also got a message from Chen Music. And it is the form of a PSA meme. And it's a young boy from a country where people look like they want to kill us just because we don't look like them. And it says, Little Ahmed, wants to remind everyone to set their bombs back 1 hour on Sunday. Aloha Clock Bar. Oh, man. I have never heard of Oahu Clock Bar. I'm used to saying Aloha Snack Bar. But yeah, Oahu Clock Bar. Set your bombs back 1 hour. That's right. Daylight savings time is upon us. Tomorrow I'm going to wake up. It'll be zero dark, but the sun will come up 1 hour earlier than normal. I've got to drive across the state and attend a meeting. So I don't know at what point along that trip will I be talking to you guys zero dark. Anyways, thank you very much. Chin Music. Really appreciate that. It's folks, I tell you, it is just a weird world right now. Let's do this. Clearing everything off. Back on track. Thank you, Chin. And then now I've got Uman back on my board. Folks, there's a lot to talk about. The science is not settled. You get to make your own call on what you're going to believe. I believe, this is kind of a callback, the science, it's all wrong. But I do think it is causing brain damage and people saying stupid shit. People like Harrison Ford should not be talking because he sounds like a complete retard. Trump derangement syndrome, brain damage indeed. Okay. Mr. Uman, let's do some more super chats. Who is out there? We've got bump. Big Dan the man again with another $5 super chat. He's back on the board. And he says, when I'm on my own with plenty of ammunition, we'll barter with the rich guys. One military can with 500 rounds of 5.56 is 1 ounce of, it's a 1 ounce gold bar. Currently, 1 ounce gold bar is, it's about $4,150 to $4,200 with the premium for the physical bar. 500 rounds of 5.56 is significantly less than that at the current market. But you know what? I think it's supply and demand, is it not? Folks, when shit has hit the fan, and if it goes Mad Max, I don't know how that's going to shake out. I just don't know. I will not be going out and offering to sell any of my ammunition because at that point, it's going to be worth more than gold to me or even worth more than silver. And you guys know I'm kind of a silver geek when it comes to silver. But I know what you're talking about, Dan. 500 rounds of 5.56, it's going to be worth gold. Now, here's the deal. If we have SHTF, Mad Max, the price of gold may be instantly $10,000 or $20,000. We have a banking crisis developing right now. We have a monetary crisis developing right now. We've had an SHTF and ammunition crisis developing for quite some time. Once again, I say be ready with food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, and self-defense, which includes ammo. Folks, when things settle down, we'll find out. And there's probably going to be a number of rich people, wealthy people, who can't take care of themselves, can't protect themselves. They'll probably want someone to protect them or help them. What good is paper to you when the world is a giant disaster? Now, in times past, and this is a great topic. It really is. Thank you, Dan. In times past, we said, how much cash should you have in the event of SHTF? Well, if the electricity's down or the banks are closed, you can't get any money out of the banks. No computers, no internet, no cash, no purchasing. We're right then at that point into barter. Now, when the machines come on, the lights come on, the banks open after 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, who the fuck knows, 1 year, will that money be worth the same thing? Will $100 buy what $100 bought before it went Mad Max? What we do know is gold and silver are precious and they're real. No matter what happens to the market, this is 1 ounce of 3 nines silver. Paper is just paper. So I think we've said you need $300, you need $400, $500. Somewhere in there is a good number to have for cash. I recommend 1s, 5s, 10s, maybe a few 20s, because for a few days, if things get really screwy, people can't get into the bank, but stores may still take cash. But if it persists and stores are shut and no one's selling anything, and there's violence, ammunition is going to be worth more than gold. And anybody who has an ounce of silver for a round of ammunition or an ounce of gold for, say, 100 rounds of ammunition, the price may go up higher from there. Desperate times call for desperate measures. And I'm not saying gouge people and buy ammo because, well, I wouldn't want to sell ammo to someone I couldn't completely trust. Who's to say? And let me just say, maybe I have one 30-round magazine of 5.56 ammunition, one magazine that fits the AR-15 M4 platform, and I tell this person I want an ounce of gold or 100 ounces of silver for this magazine full of ammunition. And they comply. They say, okay, John, I'll take it. So we make the exchange. We do some business. And then I turn my back and I hear a click and I hear a round chamber and the person says, okay, John, now you're going to give me all of my gold or silver back. And then you're going to hand me your Colt Gold Cup, 45 ACP, and your 357, and your AR-15 and your AR-12. You're going to hand that shit over. Because now now you're being robbed, right? Because they feel like they were robbed. Because they know that a magazine is worth $10, $20. The ammunition is worth $1.50, $2 a round, but I just charged them, $5,000. Right? So they feel like they were robbed, so they can rob me back. The world is going to get weird. We need to be prepared mentally. Right? So again, look, if you can help someone and you can trust them and they will become your ally, that's why I say having that scotch or vodka or whiskey or bourbon or whatever your drink is, having that available is good for making friends, assuring alliances, mutually beneficial preservation is a good thing. But definitely don't allow yourself to be robbed. Don't allow yourself to be taken advantage of. Keep yourself protected and remember what really has value. Woo! What a topic that one is. We've got 350 people climbing. I want to hit 400 people live. Share the internet address. If you want to comment, you've got to be a subscriber for 5 minutes. If you want to get on the board with your questions or comments, you've got to do a super chat donation through Venmo, CashApp, PayPal. Those details are in the comments, the description below. Or you've got to be on the Prepared Mind channel on YouTube, the one that has 4.9 thousand subscribers. The 80,000 subscriber channel has been demonetized because we speak too much difficult topic matter for the left-wing woke lunatics at YouTube to allow it. I'm trying to get that fixed. When it's fixed, you'll be the first to hear about it. We're live right now, though. It's Sunday Night Live. It is the zoo, and we've got everyone on board. Mr. Ooman, where do we want to roll next? Lots of topics, lots of things. And it's Viking Boomer out of, Canada, with a $20 super chat donation. Another great longtime supporter of the channel with great topics. Let's see what he wants to talk about. Regardless of how much flag waving marches they have in jolly old England, they just keep getting slaughtered. But how do you fight back when the cops, military, and government are not on your side? Okay, you went there, so I'm going to go there as well with you, Viking. Okay, here's the deal. Yes, the English have been pissed. Yes, they've been marching in the streets. Yes, they've been waving flags, putting flags up, draping flags over their houses, their cars, their businesses, They're pissed off at these anti-Christian, anti-English, anti-white scumbag Muslims from other countries. They've had it with them. Yet the cops do nothing. The government does nothing. The judges do nothing. The military doesn't do anything for the people of England who are being harassed, beaten, robbed, pilfered, looted, murdered, and actually legitimately, physically kidnapped and raped. And that's what they're doing to them. Just this weekend, there was another mass stabbing event in jolly old England, right? I hope Mr. Bob Hunter is doing well. And Steve Conlon, I hope you're doing well. And the rest of the English crowd that we have here, the United Kingdom boys. But we're in trouble. You're in trouble. Now, yeah, people, again, stabbed. Fucking like 10 people stabbed. At least that many went to the hospital by some, well, they're trying to say, well, they're English and they were born here, but they don't look like us. They don't sound like us. They don't talk like us. They don't believe like us. But yeah, they're British. They're British, we promise. No, they're not. They refuse to call it terrorism. When two people stab a dozen or more people with knives, they're not being good. It's not just some random violence. It is terrorism. How many videos have you seen where some third world shithole Islamic moron is swinging a machete around or pulls out a knife and starts threatening people and swinging the blade in the air at them, chasing them? What don't they have in England? Guns. But you're right, Viking. The cops, the military, the government, the judges, the courts, the prosecutors, they don't give a fuck. In fact, they'll just issue an arrest warrant for you if you say anything and throw your ass in jail if you oppose being slaughtered by non-British, non-English, non-European, non-civilized, ideological morons that believe that if they murder you, they will go to heaven as a reward. Well, here's how you fight back. You ask, how do you fight back? Well, you have to legitimately go fight back. I have watched videos where the English men are tricking Muslim men into meeting them, thinking that they're going to have children to have sex with. Yes, the Muslims are pedophiles, just like the Talmudic Jews agree with and support pedophiles. In fact, I think Israel now has passed a thing where they want the age of consent to be whatever the kid wants. No age of consent limitation on sex with minors in Israel. These are some sick fucking people out there, folks. But the Muslims, they'll just come and, if they can't talk you into it, they'll just rape you. But yeah, the English are nicely arresting these guys and holding them for trying to have sex with underage girls and boys. They don't care, folks. As long as they can stick their dick in something, they feel great about themselves and they think they're doing, well, their religious duty. But here's important. Just holding them to give them to the cops, to send them to the judges so they can be released with a warning. They haven't done anything yet. They just tried to. They have people that have murdered and they let them go. They have people that have literally had grooming gangs, kidnapped women and raped them mercilessly and murdered them, and they do not get jail time in England. So the question is, how do you fight back? The answer, and this is rather nasty, and it is not advice, nor instructions, nor orders or anything, but I believe the only way, and this is strictly entertainment and academic in nature, this response, is you have to fight fire with fire. Or, let's try this, you have to fight fire with nuclear weapons. In other words, you have to go Al Capone on them. They punch you, you beat them to death. They beat you with a bat, you take out them and their family. They come after your family, you take their neighborhood and you raze it to the ground, if you understand what that means. These people live in neighborhoods. these enemies of civilization. And in those neighborhoods, they believe they're untouchable, unstoppable. Those are no-go zones for Whitey or anyone who is actually British. That's it. I'm not giving instructions or recommending harmful and dangerous behavior, but the only thing these people understand, folks, is violence. Now, back in California, I had friends in their 70s, in their 80s, military, and they started talking to me. I said, the only thing these Muslims understand is violence. Think about the people that are doing the most violent damage on the planet. They are committing genocide. They are slaughtering Christians in Africa, in the Middle East, in the Far East, and also in Europe. The only thing they understand is violence, and the only way to defeat them is to remove them from the planet. I'm not telling anyone to do anything violent or dangerous or harmful. I'm just saying that's it. That is how you fight back. You can't rely on the military, the police, or any government system or subsystem, because they've already demonstrated that they are a failure and that they are actually legitimately against you if you're in one of these situations where the police are arresting the actual British and allowing non-British people to commit massive, heinous felonies and walk free to continue to do it again and again and again and again. In any event, Boomer, Viking, thank you very much for the great topic and the great super chat donation. And Heidi asks, I wonder how Vincent is doing. That would be Vincent Boyle in Belfast, Ireland. I haven't heard from Vincent in a while. I know he's out there. He's a decent fellow. But yeah, haven't heard from him. Don't know what's going on. Maybe he's on the old Prepared Mind channel, which had 80,000 subscribers. Folks, this channel was incredibly popular, growing leaps and bounds until Comet Ping Pong, Pizzagate. And that's when they started shutting down social media, because way back then, folks, before the 2020 election, before COVID, the powers that be understood they were losing the information war. That the mainstream media, satellite television, music and entertainment, even politicians lying right to our faces was no longer working. No longer working. And even back then, Trump, Dan Bongina, Kash Patel, and many Republicans were screaming for the Epstein files to be released. And then, during his 2024 campaign, President Trump was shot through the ear. And I think that was a wake-up call. And since then, he's basically bullshitted us. No more Epstein files. That's a hoax. Oh, I accidentally slipped into this topic. Thank you, Heidi. But yeah, it's a hoax. Well, the British royal family, that's right, the King of England, King Charles, right, has told his brother, get the fuck out of the palace. Prince Andrew is no longer a prince. He was not beheaded, but he's no longer a prince. He's had all title of nobility removed. He's been kicked out of the royal properties over, you guessed it, Epstein Island, Virginia Giuffre, all the victims of pedophilia through this rich, elite, millionaire, billionaire, international cartel. But in America, it's a hoax. But in England, the royal family says, we've had enough of your shit. You're that bad. But in America, everyone's like, oh, yeah, it's a hoax. Yeah, it's a hoax. I guess you can lose your title of nobility, your prince status, from a hoax. And Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison because of a hoax. And even Jeffrey Epstein himself was thrown in prison over a hoax. It's not a fucking hoax, folks. And by the way, this weekend, the calls to release the Epstein client list, the Epstein files, and to start arresting these rich cocksuckers, these rich child rapists is what they are, has resumed. Welcome back, folks. I want the Epstein files released as well as everything else that's going on. I want the Department of Government Efficiency empowered. I want these shitty ass programs removed. I want the illegals kicked the fuck out. I want our constitutional republic restored, or we're going to end up with, well, violence that makes London look like a fucking daycare center. All right, Mr. Who-Man, who's up next on the Prepared Mind channel? Holy cow, it's Blue Cord Devil. Oh, the bottle's over here now. With a $50 super chat donation. And when you do a $50 super chat, yeah, everyone does a super chat, gets on the board, but I do a 18-year single malt Glenfiddich Scotch. And these will tune you up. They will definitely tune you up. Thank you, Blue Cord Devil. Semper Fi to you, brother. Down the hatch. Prost, salut, and God bless America. I've got to be careful with that. All right, and also, man, keep an eye out for JC, and that's John N there. I'm a little susceptible to the vitamin A tonight. Blue Cord says, saw a video of a guy admitting to go vote for the 6th time in New York City. I, too, saw the video of the young New York idiot who said he voted 6 times. Can we guess who he is voting for? Yes. I think he admitted it, but we know it's to vote for the Muslim communist Mamdani. Blue Cord says, been watching Portland, Oregon for the last few weeks. Last weekend, Antifa finally got kicked off the sidewalk. They had turned into a camp. All right, so we got 2 different topics here. In New York City, a guy said, hey, all you got to do is show up, make up a name, give them a fake address, no ID required. You can vote as many times as you want. You can bet your ass he voted for that communist piece of shit. Communists lie, they cheat, they steal. Muslims lie, they cheat, they steal. People who don't have the moral compass and follow the golden rule, which is do unto others as you would have them do unto you, they lie, they cheat, they steal. And a lot of them also rape. In any event, that's what you're going to get out of communists. They will lie, cheat, and steal. I remember in the 2020 election prior to it, the head of the Colorado State Democrat National Party, or state party rather, said that they would lie, cheat, and steal to get Biden elected. And they did. And over in Portland now, yeah. Portland Antifa was trying to be shitty at the just down the block outside the Immigrations and Customs Enforcement federal detainee facility. And finally, the government, not the government of Portland, nor the government of Oregon, but rather the federal government and its agencies said, we're done with this shit. And they cleared out Antifa in like 30 minutes. Kind of like they did when they took over, or rather removed in the city of Seattle, the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, the Chaz. Remember that bullshit when the Black Muslim transgender BLM organization put up barricades and pallets and signs and tarps, and they had an autonomous zone. They were going to separate from the United States of America, their little city within a city. But they threatened the mayor. I think her name was Jenny. Mayor Jenny of Seattle. How fucking retarded is that? Mayor John, Mayor Fred, Mayor Wilma. Makes them sound like they're just one of the people when they're not. They're elitist fucks. But Mayor Jenny was threatened by Antifa, so she had her own police clear them out in 30 minutes after a couple of weeks of bullshit. Yeah, these people can be cleared out. They can be stopped. The government has the resources. If they want to get wild and crazy and turn loose hundreds of their idiot compadres, well, if they get violent, they can be shot. We have nothing but trouble coming our way if these people are not stopped. And by stopped, I mean legitimately stopped and then stomped. Okay, very good. Very good. Anyways, Blue Cord Devil, great topic, great donation, $50 super chat. Let's have some more fun out there. Who's on board next? It is Nancy Keg with a $10 super chat donation. She's here every single week, making sure that we keep the lights on, making sure I've got plenty of Spam and tuna fish, as well as a handsome bottle of scotch. And she says, for another exceptional topic of your choice, John, Semper Fi to you and yours. And Semper Fi means always faithful. It is the Marine Corps motto, and I think all American patriots ought to use it because I am faithful to the Constitution. God, country, Corps, and my family, and you guys are my family all around the world. So she says, another exceptional topic of my choice. Uman and I discussed a topic that could come up. Let's do it, Mr. Uman. What is the topic? And it is there's a city or a province in Mexico called Uruapan. The mayor of Uruapan, Carlos Manzo, down in Mexico, was shot dead during the Day of the Dead celebrations. You might be thinking, if you're not familiar with Latin American holidays and celebrations, Day of the Dead is Dia de la Muerta, and it's a very Catholic type celebration. But it's interesting, they shot him dead on the Day of the Dead. What he had done, what Carlos Manzo of Mexico, or Uruapan, Mexico, did was he requested help from the president of Mexico to battle the drug cartels. He asked President Sheinbaum to assist in his area, to assist in Uruapan to bring law and order for the Mexican people. And allegedly, reportedly, the wife and young son of Carlos Manzo were reportedly killed. So when you ask the president of Mexico, and her name is Sheinbaum, sounds Mexican, doesn't it? No, it doesn't. Sounds like sounds kind of Polish, right? Sheinbaum, doesn't that Polish? Where did a lot of the Polish immigrants go after World War II? Anyways, let's just settle on that. So we asked Sheinbaum to assist. Now, what has Sheinbaum been doing? She has been covering for the drug cartels. She has threatened Mexicans. She has even threatened the United States of America with, turning these cartels loose. She's threatened to, stop them, control them. She's made all kinds of threats and promises and bullshit. But she is a big-nosed, hunchbacked, filthy-looking human. I have no respect for her. So, I'm going to talk about how she looks. We all have our weirdnesses, folks. I got a giant ass. We all have our weirdnesses, right? Big ears, big nose, big eyes, whatever the hell our problem is, right? We all look weird, but I'll pick on you for looking weird if you're a piece of shit like President Sheinbaum. Funny, he asked for help. She sends help, but not the kind he wanted. That is what's happening in Mexico. What do you think is happening in Europe, in England, Ireland, Germany, France, Spain, Italy? We'll talk about that when it comes up on screen, man. Interesting. Right? There's these other countries, European countries, where if you speak up, if you ask for help, you get a knock on your door in the middle of the night, early in the morning, and the police show up and arrest you. Yes, and they have arrested politicians in Europe for opposing illegal immigration, for opposing the violence, for opposing the rape culture that has been introduced and allowed and even encouraged by the government. Oh, they just don't understand our culture. It's fine. We'll let them get away with it. Folks, the act of rape psychologically is as powerful as the act of murder. I would be speculating if I said every homosexual leader in Western countries that is homosexual is probably raped and molested as a child. Obama, Justin Turdhole, Queer Starmer, Emmanuel Macron. Starting to sound a little familiar, these fucking people, these fruitcakes that are clearly fruitcakes. Oh, Voldemort Zelensky, another homosexual who's been put in a position of power, who is a sexual deviant. Surprise, not surprised. But yeah, you ask for help, the government will come down on you. In this case, Scheinbaum just told the cartels, hey, this guy's not happy with you. Why don't you teach him a lesson, and anyone that follows will be taught that same lesson. All right, let's continue the show if we shall. A little dizzy here. Wait a second. Let me get a little hydration there. Let's do it, Mr. Uman. Holy cow, we're almost at an hour and a half, 90 minutes in. We're going to go 2 hours or as long as you guys want to talk. Blue Cord Devil, holy cow, with a $50 super chat donation, which means another scotch. Oops, it's over here. I keep forgetting it's over here because, well, I lost my cork. It's somewhere underneath the prepared desk. But another 18-year Glenfiddich Scotch. Good thing I yanked out that mostly new bottle for this show. You guys are going to put me down and make me incoherent. In any event, Blue Cord Devil, thank you for the great support. Sunday Night Live, for those who are new, make sure you're subscribed. For those of you who are new, we're here every Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. For those of you who are new, any super chat donation will get you on the board. And for those who are new, $50 or more buys me a scotch. I'm kind of feeling that Blue Oyster Cult song. I'm burning for you. Got me warm on the inside. A little bit woohoo up here. All right, Mr. Uman, thank you very, very much for that. Thank you, Blue Cord Devil, I should say, and Uman for putting it up there. Good golly. City Prepper 016 says Trump wants everyone on welfare to reapply in person. That's a great idea. Plus a doctor's exam to prove they are disabled or not. Okay. Should also be drug-free. Okay. All of those are great topics. Let's do it. I guess we got City Prepper rolling in under Blue Cord Devil's topics. Great topic. Let's go back to the first one, if we may. Mr. Uman, Trump wants everyone on welfare to reapply in person. I think that they should eliminate all federal subsidies and welfare and say, yes, come in and apply in person. We need a current driver's license that shows that you're an American citizen. We want an address so we know where you're at, right? Which includes mailing address and physical location, etc. And if you duplicate that, if you try and do it more than once, you lose all benefits. See, I think there should be a penalty for fraud. In addition to, well, you just committed an act of fraud and you're going to go to jail for 1 month or 3 months or 6 months, whatever the fraud is for welfare fraud. And then you lose benefits forever. This will make anyone who wants it have to act in a lawful, honest manner. That would eliminate a lot of fraud, just to completely wipe the system out, wipe it clean, and start fresh with, computerized systems that look for fraud. that, well, we've got 2 people here, 3 people here, 4 people here, and they all have the same bank account. What? We're not going to ship, payments to them, right? That'll help identify fraud. I think that the Department of Government Efficiency, maybe Big Balls, could write that program. It shouldn't have to cost $100 million to some company to make a tracking and welfare system program, right, that works, probably done very quickly, very easily by one of these young computer guys who Biden told learn how to code, and they have. All right, the next part of City Prepper, if we may, Mr. Uman. He wrote, city prepping, that's a great idea, plus a doctor's exam to prove if they're disabled. See, a lot of people claim they're disabled. And see, a simple doctor's exam won't prove anything. I've known and heard of several people that are on physical disability. Some are veterans and some aren't that I've met. A couple of them are just basically, they're fraud. They're absolute fraud. But they have to go to government doctors or a doctor that's, shall we say, licensed or granted the privilege of doing this for the government. It takes examinations. It takes MRIs. It takes a review of medical records. It takes CAT scans. It takes all kinds of crap to establish if someone's disabled or not. For military veterans, it's extremely hard, even though, what did we do in the military? Let's see. Well, you get the shit beat out of you. You destroy your knees and your feet, marching and jumping out of helicopters and parachuting and rappelling and getting shot at and beat to death. Those guys, not to mention the psychological trauma of combat veterans, it's very difficult for them to get disability, right? But I think that, a review of everyone claiming to be disabled is not a bad idea. I think, again, there ought to be a streamlined, simplified way to get those people and what has gone with them back in front of a doctor, and then back in front of a computer system that says, wait a minute, this doctor, I don't know, let me pick a name, right? Cooley Bully Bully Bully. There's a good one. I just made that shit up. Dr. Cooley Bully 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 says 10,000 people are disabled, right? We know that doctor has not seen 10,000 people. He's just rubber stamped everything and got everyone on it. But there are doctors like that. I'm sure they want a little bit of this. In any event, folks, it would be good. It's a great idea. There's got to be a way to do it that is quick and fair and honest and not full of fraud. Our welfare system, by the way, in my opinion, is completely fraudulent. Drug-free. Anyone on disability, drug-free. Anyone on welfare, SNAP, or any other government assistance program, you got to be drug-free. That means alcohol is okay. If you're going to be on marijuana, you have to have a marijuana card. I understand that marijuana is used for pain management and other things. I'm not so bad with that, right? I used to be more anti-weed, but now I'm less anti-weed just because, the government doesn't want to give people who need relief from pain proper meds. It's weird, right? They want everyone on illegal drugs, I guess it would seem like. In any event, drug-free, fentanyl-free, cocaine-free, OxyContin-free, unless you have prescriptions. If you have prescriptions, If you don't, you need to be drug-free. I think that's important. But we have way too much fraud. I think Trump is trying to do what he can. Once again, you have the pharmaceutical companies in the way. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Uman. Yes. Drug-free would be good. These people need to get off the drugs. They need to get off all of the fast food. They need to get jobs. I really think that in order to end welfare, it needs to be a system that rewards people for getting a job. and then slowly takes them off of welfare so they can become independent and have honor and dignity for themselves, self-respect, and to learn what it's like to be an American, to be a real person and not someone with a career of fraud. Thank you, City Prepper. Mr. Uman, let's have some more fun. We are at the 90-minute mark, 30 minutes left, and we have PPS 600-pound Gunt with a $9.99 super chat donation. And he says this: Derek Lee Frederick is an insane person who wants to hurt you. Be careful. I do not know who Derek Lee Frederick is, but there are a lot of insane people out there. There are a lot of left-wing people. There are a lot of communists. There are a lot of anti-Americans. There are a lot of people around the world. There are a lot of people domestically. I could be shot. Someone could shoot at me. Someone could try and get at me with a sword or a knife or a gun or a baseball bat. But no one has to date. I have had people find me and recognize me in person as far south as Key West, as far west as Reno, Nevada, as far east as, basically Orlando. In any event, yeah. People want to hurt me, so I need to be careful, huh? I gotcha. Scott Smith, 4710, says, that's why you need to get the phone numbers off of Alex Jones to call the people you need to call so you can find out what the hell is going on. I need to get the phone numbers off of Alex Jones to call the people you need to call so you can find out what in the hell is going on. Is that associated with the other one? Oh, we don't know. We don't know. In any event, I don't know who that person was. I've never heard that name. I did know a Scott Smith at one time, a friend of mine. That was a while back, though. In any event, maybe that's you, Scott. I'm very careful, folks. I do have and I recommend everyone be extremely careful and carry whatever level of protection you are lawfully entitled to carry, legally entitled to carry, and if need be, licensed to carry. In Florida, I have a concealed weapons permit, even though the state allows, without a license, concealed carry, and also now apparently open carry. Many of the sheriffs and law enforcement are saying they're not going to try and enforce the no open carry in Florida because, well, the courts have ruled. You can't say no open carry. It is a constitutional right. And I find it fascinating in this life that we're living, that when I was young, all governments in all states were very against it. But somehow the Second Amendment has gotten stronger as we get further into this tyrannical attempt to control us by every government agency, from the federal government and its bureaucracies like the ATF, down to state government and their attorneys general, as well as local county and city governments, trying to say, well, your state concealed carry doesn't work in our city. Sorry, you don't get to fucking say that. At the same time, the police may arrest you and say, well, fight us in court. In any event, I recommend you, to whatever level and extent possible, that you carry. I was talking to a family member over the weekend, and I was told, I hate having to carry my 45 ACP everywhere. It's 1911. He says, well, I don't like to carry it every day and everywhere I go, etc. But he goes, we have illegal scumbags in our city, and I don't like it. So I spoke with this family member, and I said, well, then you have no choice, do you? Unless you want to carry pepper spray or bear spray, a chemical agent. And he said, I know people that have been nailed by that shit 4 or 5 times, including this family member of mine who does a lot of training with chemical agents. And he said, after a while, it just doesn't bother you anymore. Right. So what choice do you have? I do not carry chemical agents. I do like the zappers, the tasers, and they have some flashlights that if you get zapped with one, they really sound like they could, well, they got enough juice to start a diesel engine. In any event, folks, be careful, be prepared. Everywhere I go, I carry. Everywhere I go, I watch everyone very closely. And I don't want to challenge these morons, but I don't think they're going to want to challenge me. I sure hope that all of you are very safe and aware that these left-wing lunatics are complete assholes and they're extremely, extremely dangerous. Right? We've seen them kill children. Who goes and kills children? Oh, that's right, left-wing extremists. They kill adults. Who wants to kill just civilians? Left-wing lunatics. Who wants to kill Christians? Left-wing lunatics. LGBT pedophiles. The anti-American groups out there from whatever country in the Middle East or North Africa or the Far East, or the drug dealers down in Central and South America, right? Go ahead and try it, right? Now in America, they're getting shot. These people attack churches and get shot. Some of them get into churches and schools and they do damage. They kill people. Some try killing people at shopping malls and they get shot. Sometimes they kill people before they get shot. But this is anti-American terrorism by Antifa or any of these fucking groups, BLM. They're a bunch of fruitcakes, and they're dangerous fruitcakes at that. In any event, I want you to be very careful and be prepared. And that being prepared, being careful, watching your six doesn't guarantee that they're not going to be able to hurt you. I've been shot. It doesn't feel good. I've been stabbed. It doesn't feel good. I've been beaten. I've been dragged. I've been kicked. I've been punched. I've had fucking tooth knocked out of my face, knocked out cold. None of it feels good. But if you're prepared, the odds of them successfully getting over on you are significantly higher than if you're just walking around with your head up your own ass. Get prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine. All that you can. God bless America. Land of the free, home of the brave. And if we don't fix our problems, we're going to end up like fucking England or Germany. All right, Mr. Uman, let's continue with the show. And we've got, it's Viking 670. It is Boomer, and he's back again with a $20 super chat donation. And he says, is it possible that this ongoing U.S. federal government shutdown is being done to ensure that immigrations and customs enforcement and border patrol continually don't get paid until they can no longer do their jobs? What you're pointing to here is the Democrats refusing to fund the government in an effort to both get the illegal immigrant support, the $1.5 trillion for that, and if they can't get that, they're going to try and starve out Immigration's Customs Enforcement, Border Patrol, Department of Homeland Security, federal law enforcement, right? The National Guard, the military. They want everyone to hurt so bad that Trump will have to capitulate, give in, cave. It's possible that that is their plan. It's possible. I think a lot of Americans, Boomer, have realized that the federal government doesn't do a fucking thing for them. The federal government doesn't do a damn thing for them. Because it's shut down and, hell, the lights are on. The bunker is safe. Right? Everything's just fine. Amazing, isn't it? Now, people that have federal jobs that are useful, like prison guards, military, National Guard, law enforcement, those are good ones to have. There should be some sort of emergency funding to keep them paid, right? Because those are very, very important to keeping peace. The actual legitimate job of government, protecting the border and getting rid of illegals, keeping our military trained and ready to protect this country in the event of an attack. Very important things. Other things like, I don't know, the IRS, the Centers for Disease Control and torturing animals. Yeah, they don't have the torturing animals part in the CDC headline, but that's what they do. Or is that the National Institutes of Health and Animal Torture? What's the organization that did medical experiments on populations of black folks in the Deep South decades ago and killed them with their medical experiments? What group was that? Anyways, I don't think they should be getting any pay. And yeah, we're going to have all kinds of trouble. The ongoing shutdown is doing one other thing that we haven't really talked about much yet. The fact that it's shut down is keeping the Epstein client list from being released because Congress is not in session. They're refusing to take that up. And one of the fears that is out there being expressed is that as soon as the government is funded and there's an agreement, whatever that agreement may be, that the Epstein release is going to not be tabled, but be put up right up front. And that there are adequate Democrat and Republican votes now to force its release. I want to ask you this question. Not just for you, Boomer, but for everybody. Let's just say the United States government is forced to vote, and they vote to release the Epstein files and client list, and they legitimately release a legitimate list that has very rich people in the finance and banking industries, in government, elected and bureaucratic positions, both domestic and international. Will you be happy if it causes chaos? Will you be happy if it causes institutions to fail or to be questioned? I say, yeah. I say, bring it on. The only way to eliminate a cancer, a disease, is to remove it. It needs to be, discovered. It needs to be isolated from the rest of the tissue and fucking excised, removed. You cannot kill cancer. You cannot treat a disease unless it is identified and eliminated. If they do not tell us, show us who is on these Epstein lists, guess what? It's going to persist. It's going to continue. In fact, it may even encourage them to do it more because that's what they want. And if they can tell Americans, you don't get to know, then guess what? If they're like, hey, the government says we don't get to know, that's good. Resume the pizza party, resume the hot dog party, resume the Caribbean island good times, right? In any event, folks, thank you, Boomer, for the great super chat. That's number 2 for you today. Folks, share this internet address. Share the address. Hit the share button. Be sure and thumbs up. Wherever you're at, find a thumbs up so it tells the computer algorithms this is a popular show. Not popular as in, yay, I'm popular, but rather the information is of great value and it should be shared. All right, man, let's continue if we shall. We got 15 minutes left, and there's JC 1701. He says, what's up, guys? No questions for me. JC did a $200 super chat earlier. He says, just happy to lubricate the gears where I can, and I got to tell you, man, lubricated. I do weigh 275 pounds, 6'6", so I can put away the scotch. But it doesn't mean it doesn't have its medicinal effects as understood. Thank you, John, very much for the great support over the years. Much appreciated, much needed. And we are going to go into even harder times. Do you realize that this weekend, the Secretary of the Treasury, Scott Bessent, was interviewed and he let slip there are sectors within the United States economy, sectors or areas that are in recession. He didn't come out and say the whole country's in recession. That would have been trouble. But he did come out and say there are sectors Also, the United States government over the weekend has pumped out not the what was the original number was I think $28 billion. It's actually over $50 billion total. The reverse repo market, that is banks and overnight borrowing, they shelled out that much cash, or rather electronic cash. The government just funded these banks that are fucking broke. Is that what Secretary of Treasury Scott Bessent was referring to? Was he referring to commercial real estate? Was he referring to residential real estate? What sector? Was he talking about certain areas of the country? It's going to be released even more, folks. It's coming. The government knows we're in bad shape, monetarily, financially, economically. All right, Mr. Uman, let's do it. We got time left, but we've got lots of super chats. And Big Dan the Man is back with a $10 super chat. That he hits the hat trick today. He says, the problem I see is an older man. I'm one of those too. I think Dan may have me by a week or two, but the problem I see is an older man that have been in the fix-it jobs. These younger humans with their phone in their face says a lot about what technology does to humans. I hear you, man. I'm plugged in 24/7. It was great to take a week off, go off the grid, completely off the grid for a week. It took me several hours to catch back up, but technology is not good for humans. At the same time, what we have had to do for ourselves, Dan and everyone, is we've had to accept responsibility for ourselves to find sources of information, news, intel, if you will, whatever it is. We've had to find it for ourselves because the government lies, mainstream media lies through television, radio, internet. We have had to discover for ourselves what the facts of the universe are, and it requires technology. It requires it. Now, the internet, I know is loaded with lies. It is loaded with porn. It is loaded with misdirection. It's loaded with bots. It's loaded with artificial intelligence horse shit. And AI is already, folks, being discredited and hated by normal people. We'll get into that in the coming weeks and months, by the way. But for right now, AI as an SHTF problem is going to be, we're going to watch it grow, and we'll be talking about it and how it will affect us. Anyways, Dan Erickson and John are in fix-it jobs or construction, maintenance, related hands-on stuff. And we have to use our hands and our minds on a daily basis. And we're not living inside the phones, right? Like these younger people. Now, what's fascinating is because the government lies, mainstream media lies, internet lies, in foreign countries, they all lie. These young people, younger humans that have the phone in their face, I think they've discovered that the games, while entertaining, don't satisfy. The pornography, while exciting to watch, doesn't satisfy. That the information they're getting is full of fucking lies and does not satisfy. And they are discovering through people like, well, Charlie Kirk, Steven Crowder, Benny Johnson, and a very young guy who's really made a big splash as of late, especially since Charlie Kirk was shot allegedly through the back of the head at the exit wound through the neck. Nick Fuentes. And all of these people, folks, Charlie Kirk, Nick, and Tucker Carlson, as well as many, 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 many others, are very, very, very critical of war and murder and genocide and rape. And they are very unhappy with Israel. So that's about the only good thing, Dan, I can see that these younger humans with the phone in their face are getting from technology. They're getting a grade A lesson in lying, propaganda, bullshit, and the need to have real information. Real information. Right? That is a problem. Because while a big percentage or a large number of youths are getting good information, probably the majority of them are not, and they're buying into the lies. So those are your Antifa, BLM, anti-American, pro-terror supporters. I don't support the terrorists or Israel. I don't support any of them. I don't support Iran. I don't support Russia. I don't support Ukraine. I don't support any of that shit. I don't support all of the fruitcakes in Europe that are being turned loose that are raping and murdering people. No. But a lot of these younger people are getting their information, and they're supportive of terrorists because they see what Israel's doing, and they think that, opposing Israel is good. So they'll support the first group they find that sides with them. Well, if it's a terror group, they're equally as nasty. In any event, folks, we need these younger humans to get off their phones, put them down. It only takes a couple of hours a day to get information that's valuable and useful and accurate. After that, you need to be doing something. In fact, all these AI jobs or jobs that are being lost to AI, you know who's laughing? People in the trades. Not me necessarily, but I'm in the trades. I'm a general contractor. And they're saying, look, if you're a plumber, an electrician, if you do HVAC, if you do concrete, if you do digging, if you do concrete work, if you do drywall, if you're a painter, that's stuff that AI can't do and robots can't do. Get into the trades. Become a lineman. Right? AI can't do a lot of these things. Anyways, that'll keep you busy. Thank you very much, Big Dan. Mr. Uman, where shall we go next? We've got less than 10 minutes, but we're going to finish up. And we have PPS 600-pound Gunt is a YouTube member. Thank you for the great support there. And then he's got another $9.99 super chat donation. He says, some liberal named Derek Lee Frederick is threatening to sue you for slander. I'm sorry to tell you. Derek Lee Frederick is some Fed who wants to silence anyone who stands up to tyranny. Well, this show and all its content is satire, entertainment, humor, and I also involve the use of facts, opinion, news, and I get it from many different sources. And look, I don't know who Derek Lee Frederick is, and if he is a Fed for real, then he can probably figure out who I am, right? They could send someone to knock on my door or maybe show up at work and have a talk to me the same way that guy down in Texas, I think he was a Navy veteran, had a knock on his door, and some state cops, I think a state policeman and maybe a local cop or something. He looked like federal cops. Wanted to talk to him about making comments about Israel. And he said, do you have an arrest warrant? Do you have a search warrant? And the guy said no. And they're like, we just want to talk to you about that. He says, well, do I have freedom of speech? And yeah. Then move along. No soliciting. Right? So you don't have to be afraid, folks, of anybody because they say they don't like your free speech. Right? Suing someone for slander. If I'm making a joke, I'm not allowed to make jokes. Uman says, I never heard the name or remember you commenting about him before, so how can we be sued for slander? Oh, I don't know. I mean, here's what I have to say. This is pretty interesting. The person probably is not a federal agent or any government agent. He's probably full of shit, making ridiculous threats, or he's insane. He could be insane. We don't know. and he thinks he's a federal agent, or maybe he thinks he's a man from Mars, or maybe he thinks he's the second coming or third or fifth or 12th coming of Jesus. I don't know. You never know with these people when they go insane. But folks, a lot of people do not believe in free speech. And they believe that whatever they believe in their own head is the only and absolute truth. And that anyone that they disagree with is bad or wrong or should be stopped. And that is a big problem. These people that think that, well, they should use whatever they can to stop. It's funny that the left-wingers did not like cancel culture getting them for making jokes about Charlie Kirk's assassination. But interestingly, many of those people that were fired for laughing about Charlie Kirk's assassination, they're suing to get their jobs back. That's interesting, because if that stands up in court, then I guess we'll all be suing social media for harming us and our free speech, and then punishing us and our free speech. Because I thought that, you could be fired and canceled. So they got to make up their mind. Which is it? What a world. And if someone wants to sue me, you're not going to get a whole lot out of me, because I actually own nothing. Well, I own a couple of guns, but that's my constitutional right. In any event, thank you, Mr. Uman. Let's do it. We got just a few minutes left. Who's out there? How to cook the right way with a $2 super chat donation. It says, where's Ham As? Well, our Ham As is never far from the broadcast center. Right, Ham As? You got it, John. I am not a ventriloquist, folks, nor do I want to be. But this is Hamas. He is a member of Hamas. Hamas. That's right. No one has the guts to try and remove Hamas from his position of authority in the world of terrorism, because he's made out of pork and they don't want to touch him. So his favorite song is "Can't Touch This." Anyways, Hamas is always right here on the show. Thank you very much. Mr. Uman, where do we go next? What's up? We've got, holy cow, we've got another $50 super chat. This is going to done me in here in the phraseology of Eliza Doolittle. For those of you who know Eliza Doolittle, $50 super chat means another shot of scotch. I think this will be a good sending away super chat. And Blue Cord says, peace and prayers, John, Jolene, Uman, and everyone else. Watch your six, stay calm, stay armed, stay true, brother Blue Cord Devil, and Semper Fi. Woo! Smooth like mother's milk. I will do just as you suggest, and I suggest everyone else take this advice as well. Watch your six, stay calm, stay armed, and understand the enemy is illogical, dangerous. Well, they're not trustworthy, that's for sure, but dangerous indeed. Thank you, Blue Cord Devil, sir, for the great super chats tonight. Appreciate it. Mr. Uman, in our last minute, what do we have left? Holy cow. Holy cow. We've got John, a.k.a. JC1701, with another $50 super chat. And I'm guessing I have no choice but to self-medicate yet again. And I recommend everyone, make sure you've got food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, and your means of self-defense. Because, yes, Virginia, there are lunatics out there. And that's kind of like, yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus. Anyways, John, Semper Fi, brother. Oh, and I'm going to be in big trouble on that one. Good thing Nikki isn't here, encouraging other people to join the party. In any event, John says Starmer, meaning queer Starmer, Prime Minister of England, is a cuck. I have to agree with you on that summation. He says Big Mike pitches and Barry catches. No doubt there at all. He says, drink up, Marine. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. Semper Fi. God bless you, John. I got to say this to you, one and all. Semper Fi to all Americans, all patriots. Mr. Uman, Semper Fi to you all means always faithful. Faithful to yourself. What you believe and what you know. Thank you, Uman. What you know is correct, right, moral, and good. Be true to your family. Be true to your country. Be true to the Constitution, which is a set of rules which has protected us from tyrants in the local, state, and federal government. And they are tyrants. The only thing restricting the government is the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. That's the only thing stopping them from banging and kicking our doors down and demanding you surrender yourself, your will, your money, your guns, your life for them. And it's funny and also disgusting how many employees of the federal government, the state and local governments, have no problem stripping you of your rights and your property and collecting a paycheck and just go, just doing my duty. Oh, I didn't know that was wrong. People know what's wrong. And the most dangerous people don't. And that's why they're the most dangerous. People that believe their own insanity. People that have taken the Jim Jones juice and juice boosters and have fried their brains as well as their immune systems. And folks, it's coming out. The VAXXXXX, it's coming out that it is cooking the immune systems of people and even children. And it is a crying shame, and it is I think a crime against humanity. And it is a very evil thing that these doctors have done, these scientists have done, and these governments have done. And there's just so much more that they want to do to us. But as long as you have a good information source and you're thinking, then you can be prepared and you too can resist tyranny. God bless America, Semper Fi, and I'll see you all 0 dark 30. Man.